Helpful for life.
Now, we could do a whole course on this, but for today, we're just going to stick to the general tips. The first thing we're going to talk about is designing the experience, which is really just a fancy way of saying to think about the details. Looking back on the two examples we gave earlier, the first thing that people will likely notice is smell. And by the way, smell is arguably the sense that's closest linked to memory. So in the future, when your friend smells that spaghetti and meatball dish somewhere, they will think of that amazing spaghetti meatball dish you made them. And hopefully they'll also think about what an amazing and fun person you are. So use this to your advantage. If the meal you're making is already particularly aromatic, you don't really need to do much. However, if it's not that aromatic, maybe you should consider creating an appetizer that is super aromatic, like that garlic bread I mentioned. Or you could also consider putting a dessert in the oven that just wafts the place with the delicious smell of apple pie. But at the very least, just make sure that your place doesn't stink. Speaking of stink, let's talk about cleanliness. Now, this one isn't that big of a factor, but we wanted to at least mention it. Cleanliness is one of those things that's not really noticed unless it's really bad or really good. So just make sure that you and your place aren't a complete and total mess, and you'll be just fine. Partial messes ain't no thing. Then comes background audio. The key word here is background. I can't tell you a single time that I've been grateful to be dining in a loud environment. That being said, this is a bit of a personal preference, but I do think that some background music can definitely improve the mood. However, make sure you don't choose something too distracting. You don't want it to take away from the meal or from your conversation. Oh, and I haven't tried this one yet, but if you're on a hot date, maybe you consider putting a crackling fire on that TV. Ooh, romantic. But speaking of TV, if you're one to often eat your meals in front of a screen, try turning it off every now and then. If you pay more attention to your meals and what you're eating, you'll likely enjoy it more. Okay, here's another pro tip for you. If you aren't planning on serving an appetizer, at the very least have something quick and easy to serve your guests or hungry family members when they get there. You don't want anyone getting hangry. So here are a few ideas for inspiration. Any kind of chip or veggie with any kind of dip, some sausage with some dipping sauces, cheese and crackers, a fruit salad, bread, nuts. I think you get the idea. Now, this in reality could be most anything, but I think it's a little better experience if it's something kind of along the lines of what I was saying and less like Doritos. If you're having a late dinner, definitely do this. Then comes the beverages. If you want to go above and beyond, you can research what pairs well with each of the foods that you're serving. If you've never done this before, you should really try it out. You would be surprised just how different both the food and the drink taste when you pair certain things together. Plus, you can even make it another way to spice up your dinner and make it a little more exciting. You can provide different options for pairings, and you can compare notes to see which ones taste better together. Now, you non-drinkers, don't dismay because there are plenty of non-alcoholic options to pair with your foods. And even if you don't go this far, at the very least, make sure you have something other than water. I think most people will appreciate that. Then there's the tableware. You don't need to have the fanciest china or all these decorations on your plate in order to have good presentation. Oftentimes, the best presentation is done on a simple plate that's a plain, solid color. And those type of dishes can easily be found on the cheap. And in case you're wondering, no, there aren't any times I can think of that presentation is better on paper plates instead of real plates. I'm sorry, Dad. What about decoration? Well, if you want to go really over the top, you can keep this in mind as you're doing the interior decorating for your home. However, at the very least, maybe just consider putting out a centerpiece or a candle or something. Speaking of that, another thing that goes with decoration is lighting. So maybe consider turning the lights down, lighting those candles I was talking about, or using some lamps instead of the overhead light. It can definitely improve the mood. Another big factor is hospitality. Now, y'all know I couldn't do this whole video without talking a little bit about hospitality. You know, being a Southern gentleman and all. Oh, you haven't heard of Southern hospitality? Bless your heart. You need to come down to the American South and experience it firsthand. Okay, I'll stop the accent. Sorry, y'all. If you're a good host, your guest experience will be that much better. When they get there, greet them, give them a smile, take their coat and their purse, offer them a drink. Maybe spark a conversation on a common topic between two other guests. A lot of hospitality isn't difficult or complicated. It's just about taking that little bit of extra effort to make sure your guests are having a good time. That being said, don't overdo it. I've fallen victim to this myself, and I've seen many hosts fall into this trap. You know who you are. If you're a mom, you're probably in this group. If you're Mama G, you're definitely in this group. You deserve to enjoy the experience too. Sure, maybe Timmy and his friends are the priority for his birthday party, but don't always sacrifice your enjoyment for others. By the way, a lot of people don't realize how hard it is, how expensive it can be, how much time and effort it takes to cook and host people, because a lot of them haven't done it themselves. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it be chopping up an onion, cleaning up a little bit, setting the table, getting you a drink, giving you a massage, whatever it may be, having somebody help you will certainly improve your experience, and who knows, maybe it'll improve their experience as well. At the very least, it's a great time to tell them about this amazing course where you learned all this stuff. Kickstart your kitchen. Nah, I reckon I could talk about this stuff till the cows come home, but this is enough hospitality talk for now. As long as you just try to up your hospitality game just a little bit, you'll be better off. And who knows, maybe people will be saying, "Heavens to Betsy! That dinner was so fun and the food was as good as all get out." Now that you know a little bit about hospitality, be a good guest. Offer to bring something, offer to help, offer to throw in a few bucks, especially if it's the same person always hosting every time. At the very least, you better dang be ready when the food is ready. Nothing is more insulting to a cook than letting the food get cold or soggy or anything less than perfect. Oh, and even if the food mostly sucks, at least comment on something. At the very least, you can say, "Thank you very much for cooking for us." It really pains me to see someone who's worked long and hard, slaving over a meal, and nobody says anything about it. So do your part. Give your thanks. Lastly, consider serving multiple courses. Regardless of how simple or complex they are, having multiple courses can lengthen the dining process. This gives you more time to enjoy your food and possibly your guests. Again, truly experiencing your food is infinitely better than just shoveling down nutrition. And serving multiple courses also enables you to try out multiple foods, and if you have a sweet tooth at the table, I'm sure they will appreciate that dessert. All right, there was a lot of stuff in there. This video and the next one will be great ones to rewatch next time you're having a gathering or you decide you want to treat yourself. So let's get into what I think is one of the more fun aspects of cooking, and that is plating.